What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Troye Sivan's third album, Something to Give Each Other. There's a lot to get into with this album, and I love this album. I think this is one of the best albums of 2023. Almost certainly going to make my top 10 albums of the year. A lot to get into with this. Love the record. And I got to say, Troye Sivan has had such an impressive year, and I did not really see this coming because I was not really a Troye Sivan fan at all until this year. I had not really been much of a fan of his previous work. His last album back in 2018. It's been a while since we had a lot from Troye. Perhaps interestingly, between albums, we got that brief EP from Troye a few years ago, which was kind of the breakup EP. He kind of got the breakup songs off his chest in that EP. And as a result, with Something to Give Each Other, he was able to give us a really impressive, cohesive sonic vision for an album with a lot of amazing songs. And I just never really saw this coming from Troye. And it's really exciting. And really, it's continuing the great year he's had because he was actually probably the best part of The Idol on HBO. You think about that series, and I reviewed the series at length. Check that out. But just think about who was involved with that series. Of course, The Weeknd in a starring role alongside Troye Sivan and also Jennie Kim from Blackpink. Without a shadow of a doubt, Troye Sivan was the best musical actor on The Idol on HBO. I don't even think it's debatable. He was great. And to follow that up with the debut single from this album, Rush. The moment I heard Rush, I was like, hold on a minute. Troye has not given us anything this interesting. And I think what's so great about Something to Give Each Other is that Troye Sivan, I think, has found a way to give you interesting, compelling, engaging music without, I think, kind of obviously pointing out the fact that he's not the best singer. He does not have the strongest vocals. But if the rest of the music is interesting, then it doesn't matter if his vocals are so-so. That was my biggest takeaway and, sticking point with his earlier work, was I thought the production that he was often on didn't do him any favors, and he just didn't really stand out vocally. Nowadays, with Something to Give Each Other, you have, a song like Rush, straight up house production? On top of that, you have this homoerotic chant vocals with the chorus, incredibly high tempo. Obviously, a huge music video that's been polarizing in certain aspects, but certainly attention grabbing. Rush is it's a straight up pop banger, and Troye really fits his strengths on this. And I think what's so cool about this record, where Troye is getting into, I think, obviously a song like Rush is just straight up very lustful. Of course, he's talked about the inspiration at length. And in general, I think desire and lust and, pursuing fun and also just finding connection. That's kind of a central theme on Something to Give Each Other. And it's boiled down, it's packaged to you with, again, very interesting production choices. Rush is straight up house. The second song, What's the Time Where You Are, also pretty clubby. I think this is one you could just straight up drop into a club and it would hit really fun. I love the drums on this. The Troye Baby ad lib that gets dropped in as if it's like a DJ tag sounds awesome. I think this is a song that just kind of makes you move. I really like these first two tracks. And then you have One of Your Girls, where Troye's vocals are incredibly distorted, but you still have all this bass. And then the production, you have, just uncredited synths from none other than Max Martin. Unsurprisingly, a very catchy melody. And lyrically, kind of interesting. Of course, of Troye kind of pursuing romantically someone who's not usually into men. Pretty interesting writing, I'd say. And then we'll keep it going here. Still Got It. The organ. You got Troye Sivan singing with church organ backing him up. It's kind of epic. I can't lie. I love the way the guitar comes in at the end. It sounds great. In My Room, really fun drum tempo on that one. Can't Go Back Baby, probably just kind of a middling song. It's interesting. Like this album, it's pretty short, right? It's 10 songs, 33 minutes. It definitely goes up, comes back down, and then goes back up again. I think when Troye goes down again, he gets a little less interesting. And Can't Go Back Baby, production wise, is probably the least involved of these songs, so there's not a lot to latch onto, I would say. But that thought quickly leaves your mind because you get Got Me Started, which very obviously in your face samples Shooting Stars from Bag Raiders. One of the, I think, most ubiquitous EDM drops, especially in the TikTok and social media era. And it speeds up that sample. And Troye, from the performance side of things, gives you a very catchy auto-tune performance. I think this one's really awesome. Again, kind of fits that overall vision of the songs we've been getting to this point. It's the song Silly. I love the vocal performance from Troye, the different inflections he does with his voice. Very powerful bass, because that is just straight up a UK garage song. We haven't heard that from Troye Sivan. It's really cool to get something like that, something like Rush, really dabbling in a lot of, I think, interesting music here. Honey, also straight up house production. And then How to Stay With You, the last song, love the snares on it. And at the very end, you get basically like a jazz outro. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of over the moon for this album. I think you have a clear-cut banger that you can listen to all the time in Rush. You have just really interesting layered beats, layered choices, and you have an artist clearly coming into his own musical identity and being incredibly confident in the vision, in the musical choices. And I just think that's really exciting. This is definitely going to make my top 10 albums of the year. And again, not something I ever saw coming, that I would adore a Troye Sivan album from the music we had gotten to this point. Very impressive. Hats off to Troye. But let me know, how did you feel about Troye Sivan's third album, Something to Give Each Other? And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.